Welcome to all. The fire is burning just right. That means it is time for a listening practice tale. Sit closer, listen to a real story, and let your ears lead your learning. Here is a brutal truth that most people spend their entire lives ignoring. We like to believe that we are the captains of our souls, the masters of our fate, and the conscious decision makers of every action we take. But the reality is far more mechanical and less romantic than we would like to admit. If you have ever promised yourself on a Sunday night that this week would be different, that you would finally start that exercise routine, write that book, or quit that bad habit, only to find yourself on Tuesday evening doing exactly the same things you have always done, feeling a mix of guilt and confusion, then this video is not just for you. It is meant for you. If you have ever walked into a room and forgotten why you are there, or if you have ever driven home from work and realized upon arrival that you don't remember a single turn you made because your mind was somewhere else entirely, you have experienced the autopilot nature of the human brain. You are about to learn the exact step-by-step system that can unlock your brain's potential and help you reprogram your life from the ground up. This isn't just another motivational speech full of empty promises. This is a deep, powerful system based on neuroscience and behavioral psychology. And here is the best part. This video serves a dual purpose, because as you learn the mechanics of your mind, you are also immersing yourself in high-quality English listening practice, absorbing vocabulary and grammar structures naturally just by following the story. So stay with me until the very end, because the tools you will discover today have the power to change not just what you do, but who you are. Step 1. Let's start with a fundamental concept that explains why change is so difficult. Here is a brutal truth. You do not have bad habits because you are a weak person with no willpower. You have them because your brain is an incredibly efficient machine designed to save energy at all costs. Let me explain why this happens using a metaphor that will make it crystal clear. Imagine your brain is a vast, dense, and wild jungle. Every time you perform an action, whether it is brushing your teeth, lighting a cigarette, or checking your phone, you are hacking a path through this jungle. The first time you do something new, it is difficult, slow, and exhausting, just like cutting through thick vines and tall grass with a machete. You have to think about every step, focus your attention, and use a lot of mental energy. But if you walk that same path the next day, the grass is already trampled down a bit, making it easier to walk. If you walk it every day for a month, the path becomes clear and smooth. If you walk it for a year, that dirt path turns into a paved superhighway. This process is known in neuroscience as long-term potentiation, often summarized by the phrase neurons that fire together, wire together. Your brain, in its quest for efficiency, wants to turn as many actions as possible into these automatic highways so that it can free up processing power for other things. This is why you can drive a car while talking to a friend without crashing. The driving has become a highway, requiring almost no conscious thought. Let's say you have a habit of eating junk food when you feel stressed. You come home after a long, difficult day at work. Your boss was angry and you are tired. You walk into the kitchen, and before you even really think about it, your hand is reaching for a bag of chips or a cookie. You eat it, and for a brief moment, you feel a wave of relief. Why did this happen? Because your brain has built a super fast highway that connects the feeling of stress directly to the action of eating sugar, and the result of relief. You did not make a conscious choice in that moment. You simply slid down a mental slide that you built years ago. Now imagine this scenario differently. You come home stressed, but this time you understand the mechanism of the invisible architect. You know the highway exists, but you also know that you have the power to build a new one. You decide that, instead of food, you will use movement to relieve stress. You place your running shoes right by the front door, so you cannot miss them. When you walk in, you see the shoes. This is your new signal. And you immediately put them on and go for a 5-minute walk. You are stepping off the old highway and starting to cut a new path through the jungle. It will be hard at first. The grass will be tall. But with every repetition, the new path becomes clearer. And the old highway to the junk food begins to crack and fade from lack of use. From now on, whenever you find yourself stuck in a bad habit, stop blaming your character. Blame the highway. And then, grab your mental shovel and start building a new road. Because you are the architect of your own brain, not just a passenger along for the ride. Step 2. The loop of destiny. Now that we understand the landscape, we need to understand the engine that drives our behavior. Here's what most people never realize. Every single habit you have, from the way you tie your shoes to the way you react to criticism, follows the exact same 3-part structure. Scientists call this the habit loop, and understanding it is like having the blueprint to a bank vault. Let me explain the components. The loop consists of a cue, a routine, and a reward. Think of it like a mousetrap. The cheese is the cue. It grabs the mouse's attention. The snap of the trap is the routine, the action that takes place. The caught mouse is the reward, at least from the perspective of the trap. In your life, the cue is the trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and which habit to use. The routine is the behavior itself, which can be physical, mental, or emotional. The reward is the prize that tells your brain, this loop is worth remembering for the future. Let's look at a practical example. Let's say you have a habit of checking your smartphone the moment you wake up in the morning. The cue is simply the act of waking up, or perhaps the sound of your alarm. The routine is reaching over, unlocking the phone, and scrolling through social media or emails. The reward is a tiny hit of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that makes you feel interested, connected, or simply awake. You do not do this because you genuinely want to read the news at 6:00 a.m. You do it because your brain craves that chemical spark to start the day. Now imagine this. You want to break this loop because it makes you anxious and wastes your morning. The mistake most people make is trying to ignore the cue or deny the reward. But the golden rule of habit change states that you cannot extinguish a bad habit. You can only change it. You must keep the old cue and deliver the old reward, but insert a new routine. So, you decide to leave a book on your nightstand next to your phone. When you wake up, the cue, you pick up the book instead of the phone. You read just 2 pages, the new routine. You still get a mental wake-up and a sense of engagement, the reward. But now it comes from learning and focus rather than distraction. From now on, whenever you want to change a behavior, become a detective of your own life. Observe yourself. When you feel the urge to do the bad habit, ask, what just happened? Identify the cue. Then ask, what am I really getting out of this? Identify the reward. Once you know these variables, you can simply swap the routine for something healthier that provides a similar benefit. Because energy in the universe cannot be destroyed, only transformed, and the same is true for your habits. Right now, pause this video mentally and try this exercise. Step 1. Step 2. Identify the cue. What time is it? Who are you with? How do you feel? Identify the reward. Is it relief, distraction, comfort? Did you feel the difference? That clarity is the first step to power. Step 3. The 2-minute rule. Here is the secret that memory champions, elite athletes, and successful writers use to achieve impossible goals. They never start big. Let me tell you something no one talks about. The hardest part of any task is simply starting. The most difficult part of going for a run is not the 5 kilometers of jogging. It is the 10 seconds it takes to put on your shoes and step out the door. Physics teaches us about static friction, the force that keeps a stationary object from moving. It takes much more force to start pushing a heavy box than it does to keep it moving. Once it is sliding, Your motivation works the same way. Imagine your willpower is like a battery. Big, vague tasks drain it instantly. Get fit, write a novel, or learn English are terrifying mountains that paralyze you. But small, concrete tasks use almost zero energy. If you try to climb the mountain on day one, your battery dies at the base, and you quit. Let's say you want to read 30 books this year. You buy a huge, heavy novel, look at the hundreds of pages, and immediately feel overwhelmed. You force yourself to read for an hour, get tired, and never pick it up again. Why? Because the activation energy required to start was too high. Now imagine this. You use the 2-minute rule. The rule states, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. You tell yourself, I will read for just 2 minutes. That is it. No pressure, no big goal. Anyone can read for 2 minutes. You sit down, open the book, and read one page. Often, once you start, you will find yourself reading for 20 minutes because the friction is gone. But even if you stop after 2 minutes, you have done something more important than reading. You have reinforced the identity of someone who reads. You are casting a vote for the person you want to become. From now on, whenever you want to start a new habit, scale it down until it is ridiculously easy. Run a marathon becomes put on my sneakers. Write a book becomes write. One sentence, study English becomes learn. One new word. Make it so easy that you cannot say no, because a habit must be established before it can be improved. You cannot optimize a habit that does not exist. Step 4. The environment design. Here is a brutal truth. Self-control is largely an illusion. Let me explain. We tend to admire disciplined people and think they have some superhuman strength of will. In reality, research shows that disciplined people are just better at structuring their lives, so they do not need to use willpower. They do not spend their days fighting temptation. They remove temptation from their path. Imagine trying to focus on a difficult task while sitting in a noisy room with a TV on and a plate of cookies next to you. It is nearly impossible. Your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior more than your internal desires. Let's say you want to practice the guitar, but your guitar is kept in its case, which is stored in the back of a closet behind a pile of winter coats. To play, you have to walk to the closet, move the coats, drag out the case, unbuckle it, and take out the guitar. By the time you are ready to play, 20 seconds have passed, and your fleeting motivation has evaporated. The friction was too high. Now imagine this. You buy a guitar stand and place it right in the middle of your living room. You take the guitar out of the case and put it on the stand. Now, the guitar is always there, staring at you. It is visually obvious. To play, you just have to reach out your hand. Now, you find yourself playing for 5 minutes while waiting for the kettle to boil or during a commercial break on TV. You have reduced the friction to 0. From now on, apply this principle to everything. If you want to build a good habit, decrease the friction. Make the cues obvious and the action easy. Put healthy food on the counter, not in the drawer. Put your book on your pillow. If you want to break a bad habit, increase the friction. Make it invisible and hard. Unplug the TV and put the remote in another room. Delete the social media app from your phone, so you have to download it every time you want to look. Make your bad habits difficult and your good habits effortless, because in the long run, your environment will always beat your willpower. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine walking into your bedroom or your office. Now see one specific change you can make right now to push you toward a good habit. Move an object, hide a distraction, open your eyes. That image will stay with you, and that small change can alter the course of your life. Step 5. The chain of consistency. Here's the secret to lasting change. Never break the chain. Let me explain. Consistency is like compound interest in a bank account. If you deposit a small amount of money once, it does nothing. But if you deposit a small amount every single day for years, the compound interest makes you a millionaire. The problem is, human beings are impatient. We judge our success by the harvest, not by the planting. We want the result now, and when we don't see it, we give up. Let's say you study English for 1 week. You memorize 50 words, but when you try to watch a movie, you still don't understand everything. You feel discouraged. You think, it's not working, and you quit. You broke the chain. You stopped the compound interest before it could start to grow. Now imagine this. You get a big wall calendar and hang it where you see it every day. Every day that you complete your habit, whether it is studying English, exercising, or meditating, you put a big red X on that day. After 3 days, you have a short chain. After 2 weeks, you have a longer chain. After a month, the chain looks impressive. Your only goal now is not to be fluent or to be fit, but simply don't break the chain. On a bad day, when you are tired or sick, you do the absolute minimum. Read 1 page, do 5 push-ups, just to keep the X on the calendar. From now on, whenever you start a project, focus on the streak, not the result. Adopt the mindset of a professional. Amateurs wait for inspiration or the right feeling. Professionals just show up and do the work, regardless of how they feel. If you miss 1 day, that is an accident. It happens to everyone. But if you miss 2 days in a row, that is the start of a new bad habit. Never miss twice. Get back on track immediately. Step 6. Identity shifting. Here is what most people don't know. The strongest force in the human personality is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. Let me explain. Most people try to change what they do. But true, lasting change happens when you change who you are. Imagine your behavior is like an onion with 3 layers. The outer layer is your outcomes. What you get, losing weight, publishing a book. The middle layer is your processes. What you do, going to the gym, writing daily. The center core is your identity. What you believe about yourself. Let's say 2 people are offered a cigarette. The first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." This sounds like a reasonable response, but it implies that this person still believes they are a smoker who is trying to do something hard. They are a smoker acting like a non-smoker. Now imagine this second person. When offered a cigarette, they simply say, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." It is a small difference in words, but a massive difference in mindset. This person has shifted their identity. They are not fighting a temptation. They are simply acting in alignment with who they believe they are. From now on, stop focusing on what you want to achieve and start focusing on who you want to become. Don't say, "I want to run a marathon." Say, "I am a runner." Don't say, "I want to write a book." Say, "I am a writer." Every time you choose the healthy salad over the burger, you are casting a vote for the identity of a healthy person. Every time you practice English, you are casting a vote for the identity of a bilingual person. As these votes accumulate, the evidence of your new identity becomes undeniable, and the behavior becomes natural. You are no longer trying to do it. You are just being yourself. Conclusion. Let's review the powerful system we have uncovered today. Step 1. Realize you are the architect of your brain's highways, and you can build new paths while letting the old ones fade. Step 2. You must hack the habit loop by identifying the cue and reward, and then changing the routine. Step 3. Use the 2-minute rule to lower the barrier to entry and make starting effortless. Step 4. Design your environment to reduce friction for good habits and increase it for bad ones. Step 5. Don't break the chain of consistency. Protect your streak at all costs. Step 6. Shift your identity to make the change permanent. and natural. If you apply these steps daily, within 66 days, the average time it takes to form a new habit, you will reprogram your automatic behavior. You will find that the things that once required massive willpower now happen automatically. But more than that, you'll become the master of your own fate, not a servant to your impulses. Remember, this video wasn't just about habits. It was also about improving your English through the method of learning by listening. Every sentence you heard helped you grow your comprehension, your vocabulary, and your feel for the language. If this helped you, subscribe right now. We don't just teach English, we help you become a better version of yourself. One word at a time. Your mind is ready. Let's go. And as the fire dies down and the embers fade into the night, remember this: we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. See you in the next story.